He was West Indies cricket's first foreign coach, called in to reverse the slide of a once cricketing superpower that failed to keep up with the changes in the sport. Like almost every other coach that followed him, Bennett King was deemed unsuccessful as West Indies cricket plummeted to an all-time low. But in this rare interview with the Australian, he reveals how the regional game still struggles with many of the same issues he met here 16 years ago.
But they saw the developments around the world in terms of resources, which is hard for them to replicate.
In this 2005 interview, Bennett King was speaking of the lack of resources, facilities and coaching in West Indies cricket. 16 years later, I've tracked down the Australian on LinkedIn, linking up with him to reflect on his time in the Caribbean.
Some of the deficiencies that we were trying to work on in my time are still deficiencies now.
His tune hasn't changed. Many of the structural defects he met in West Indies cricket less than 2 decades ago still exist.
The areas of coaching, competition, facilities, support staff, research, trying to find your point of differences are all relevant.
King would spend less than 2 years in the job, resigning in 2007 after the West Indies failed to make the semi-finals of the World Cup.
I wasn't sure if I had the backing of the board at that particular time.
But if King had lost the support of the board, Captain Brian Lara, who also retired after the 2007 World Cup, thought he should have stayed.
When I spoke to him about that, he did say to me that he didn't think that I should resign.
But King did. His undercooked West Indies World Cup team, perhaps underprepared, as he says, didn't have the resources to meet before the tournament. Since King's exit, there have been 5 West Indies coaches that have followed him in 14 years. Though there now seems to be a willingness from Cricket West Indies president Ricky Scarrett for some sort of stability with Phil Simmons.
The trick in having a coach for a longer period of time is that the coach has got a vision for what the future's going to look at. The board is invested in that vision, and if they're invested in that vision, then they'll give that commitment to the coach to keep moving that team forward.
In addition to the 5 coaches since Bennett King's reign, there have been 4 Cricket West Indies presidents, as the revolving door of West Indies cricket keeps going round and round.